Hungarian Folk Tales. The Witch. Once upon a time, there lived an old man who had 3 sons. When all 3 were fully grown, they decided to marry and told their father of their wish. Very well, but one at a time. I want you all to take a walk, and the one who returns with the prettiest flowers will be the first to marry. The 2 elder brothers did not even leave the village. Both of them had a sweetheart, so each of them brought a nice bunch of flowers back to their father. The youngest son, however, had no sweetheart, so he went out of the town to look for flowers. He walked and he walked until he eventually came to a vast forest, in the middle of which he came across an old palace surrounded by a flower garden. Oh, if only I could pick flowers in this beautiful garden. The youngest son was still standing there when a witch appeared in the garden and asked him, "Why are you so sad, my child?" Then the young man told her what his problem was. "If all you need are flowers, come with me and I shall give you some." Then she took him into the garden and picked a bunch of beautiful flowers. As soon as the poor man caught sight of the flowers, he said to his eldest sons, "Well, sons, it will be your younger brother who will marry first, because he has returned with the best blossoms." But the elder brothers complained to their father so bitterly that he eventually agreed to set a second test. Very well, the second test shall be he who brings back the prettiest kerchief shall be the one to marry first. So the sons went off, the 2 elder ones to their sweethearts in the village, and the youngest one to the witch in the forest. "What do you need this time, my child?" The youngest son told her, and so the old witch went back into the palace and brought the young man a beautiful gold-trimmed kerchief that bedazzled the boy. The 2 elder brothers also brought a kerchief each, but the youngest son's was by far the loveliest of the lot. The elder brothers were very upset, and so their father eventually agreed to set a 3rd test. "Very well, go and bring me your sweethearts. He who brings me the loveliest girl shall be the one to marry first." This was easy for the 2 elder brothers, because they both had sweethearts in the village. But where, oh where, should the youngest brother look for a bride? Who could he take to his father? Should he fetch the old witch who had given him the flowers and the kerchief? So the youngest son set off with his head hung low. He walked into the forest, stopped in front of the palace, and leaned against the fence with a face as sad as the autumn rain. "What's the matter with you, my child?" "Oh, don't even ask me what the matter is. My father told us that the son who took the prettiest sweetheart home would be the first to marry." "Don't hang your head, my child, but come with me to the palace. Here's a fireplace, make a fire. With every flame that flickers up, a witch will appear before your eyes. Fear not and stand bravely there until you see the last and ugliest witch of all that will have a bunch of keys between her teeth. Then you need to snatch the keys, otherwise the rest of the witches will tear you apart. And now the rest is up to you." Saying nothing more, the old witch vanished. The young man made a fire in the fireplace, and as the flames began to grow and crackle, a witch emerged from the flames. The youngest son was so afraid that a shiver of fright ran down his spine. Then a second flame leapt forth, producing a second witch. Then many more witches followed this one. Eventually, the last witch appeared with a bunch of keys between her teeth. The youngest son gathered all his courage and snatched the keys, and, wonder of wonders, the ugly witch turned into a beautiful princess. The youngest son was too surprised to speak. All the witches then vanished from the room and were replaced by a throng of graceful maidens. Then the pretty princess said, "You must be very surprised. I'll have you know that I was the old witch who gave you the flowers and the kerchief. You must have been sent here by God, because I was a princess and a spell was cast on me. Had you not appeared, I would have remained an old witch, and now we shall be together for the rest of our natural days." The poor man was in good spirits and said, "Very well, I will let my elder sons marry too." And that they did. and their younger brother gave them each a house with plenty of land. Then the youngest and most fortunate son took his bride back to the palace, where they lived happily ever after. Hungarian Folk Tales. Peter and Paul. Once upon a time, there was a poor man. He was as poor as a church mouse. Children, he had many though, but apart from them, he had nothing but a single cockerel. Next door to him there lived a rich man. He was so rich that he had absolutely no idea of all that he had. His yard was full of hens, cockerels and fine farm animals. It happened one day that poor man Peter's cockerel went over to rich man Paul's yard. The cockerel went over to the hens because he was so bored all alone in Peter's yard. The rich man, greedy Paul, saw this and he said to the poor man, "Listen here, Peter. Do something with this cockerel. Either kill it or sell it. But get it out of my yard, otherwise I'll batter it and it'll be of no use to you anymore. I don't want it to come over to my yard." Poor man Peter was desperate. What should he do? He thought hard. He'd kill it and cook it for his children, but his children had never eaten meat in their lives before, and they would get used to the taste of meat and want it at every meal. Oh well, he thought, I'll take it to my master and give it to him as a gift. Maybe he will give me something in return. So he did just this. And his master said to him, "Hey, Peter, you're a poor man with many children. Wouldn't you have been better off cooking this cockerel for your children at home?" "No, sir," said Peter, "because we're so many at home, there are so many children that one cockerel would never satisfy them all. They'd each just have one bite, and once they had tasted the meat, they'd realise it was better than boiled potatoes or simple soup, and they'd never want to eat those things anymore. They'd always want to eat meat." "All right, Peter. We'll roast this cockerel for dinner today, but I want you to be here to serve it to us." The master had 2 sons, 2 daughters and a wife, so they were 6. Peter went to their house at midday when dinner was going to be served. There was the roast cockerel on the table. Peter thought hard and began to carve. He reasoned thus: the master and the lady of the house are the head of the family, so I'll cut the head and the neck off for them. I'll give the 2 wings to the 2 young ladies so they can fly off with more ease when it comes to marrying. The young masters will get the 2 feet so they can run better. And I, poor devil, will make do with what is left. This way he himself had the bulk of the cockerel. The master rewarded Peter for his wisdom. He gave him a horse, a cart, a plough, and everything to go with it, as well as some land to farm as his own. He told him to run his own farm and grow rich on it. Rich man Paul got word of this. He was ever so envious. If his neighbour had been given so many things for one single cockerel, how much would the master give him for 5 cockerels, he wondered. Rich man Paul finally made up his mind to take his 5 cockerels to the master. He was so envious. He gave them all as a gift. The master said to rich man Paul, "Listen here, Paul, we'll roast these 5 cockerels for dinner today. I want you to serve us at tables. If you fail to divide the roast justly, I'll have you whipped 50 lashes. But if you manage to divide it well, I'll reward you richly. The 5 cockerels were roasted, and none was cut up. They were all in one piece. Rich man Paul went to the master's house, but he couldn't divide the meat justly in any way. Then the master said to his servant, "Go and fetch Peter." So Peter came. "Well, Peter, you'll have to divide these 5 cockerels among us." Peter thought hard. "Well," he said, "I've always believed in the Holy Trinity. This time I'll be guided by it too. I reckon the master and the lady of the house and a cockerel will make a trinity." "By the same token," he said, "the 2 young ladies and a cockerel will make a trinity. The 2 young masters and a cockerel also. So I, poor devil, and 2 cockerels will also make a trinity." This cheeky but shrewd way of dividing the roast made the master and his entire family laugh. The master richly rewarded Peter again and had the rich man Paul whipped as he had pledged. Paul was given 50 lashes and told never to return to the palace again. Hungarian Folk Tales. 7 at 1 blow. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there lived a tanner. Now this tanner had as many children as a sieve has holes, and even more. One day he was cooking porridge for his children. There was just enough for each to have a drop. It was hot, it was summertime, and a swarm of flies flew in through the window. And this sent the tanner into such a rage that he lifted his hand and brought it down hard on the table. He managed to get 7 of the flies at one and the same time. So he thought to himself, "Am I not a true and gallant knight to hit 7 at 1 blow?" He made for himself a sign, and on it he wrote, "7 at 1 blow," and this he wore around his neck. Off he went to seek his way in the world, and eventually he came upon a well deep in the forest. So he lay himself down and slept. Just then came devils to sup from the water. One of these devils saw him and said, "Now this is a true and gallant knight. He's not a man to battle with." No sooner had he said this than the tanner woke up, and then the devil said, "Will you not come and serve us true? Your job will be to carry water in this bison skin." With that they went off to where the devils lived, in the infernal fire or somewhere deep in hell. And the devils drank the water up in a flash. So then the king of the devils said, "What wages do you require?" "A load of gold carried home, and I will ride on top of it." And so the bargain was struck. They passed the man the bison skin. The poor man almost collapsed under the weight of it. he set out for the well. He wondered how he was going to be able to carry it back full when he could hardly manage to carry it when it was empty. So he got hold of a spade, and when he arrived, he started to dig around the well. Now the devils got fed up of waiting for him to come back with the water, so one of them upped and went off after him. Said the devil, "What are you doing, Tanner? I'm not going to come here back and forth and fetch water for you all the time. I'm going to bring the whole well in one go." "No, don't do that. You see, my mother is blind and she's going to fall into the hole. I'll fetch the water for you. You fetch wood from the forest instead." And with this, they started off back. Then the devil led him to the forest to show him how much wood he had to gather up and bring back. The devil took the top of a tree and bent it down, and the tanner held on to it. Then the branch came loose from the devil's hand, and as the tree sprang back, it threw the tanner up and over the forest. Out sprang a rabbit from under the bush, and the tanner chased it. Asked the devil, "Now where are you running?" "After this rabbit, don't you see? I jumped across the forest for it, and I still couldn't catch it." Then the devil ran home and told the others, "Get rid of this tanner, because he's a bigger devil than any of us." The tanner said he wouldn't go away because there was a devil here stronger than him, and he pointed at one of the devils, saying he was the stronger one. And the devil said, "I'm stronger than you. Come with me to the top of the hill. We'll take a whip with us and make it crack. Whoever makes the whip crack louder is surely the stronger of us too." The tanner said, "I don't mind, but give me a club as well." When they got there, the devil said, "You go first at cracking the whip." "And no," said the tanner, "you go first." The devil took the whip and cracked it so hard that the tanner went and fell over. "I wanted to hold the end of the whip, but you were too fast for me." "Now then," said the devil, "it's really your go." "Well, if it's my go, close your eyes, because when I do it, you'll go blind." The devil closed his eyes, and the tanner smacked him right on the head with a club. Then he asked, "Now who can crack the whip harder?" And the devil said, "You can crack it harder. You're a bigger devil than all of us." So they went back, and the devil said to the rest of them, "Take this tanner home right away." So they put the money into a big tub, and he sat on top of it. When he got home, his children came out and said, "Father, Father, how long is it since we last had the meat of a devil?" The devil emptied the tub, money, tanner and all, and ran off back to hell. "It's a good thing that we got rid of him," he told the other devils. "Even his children want to eat the meat of a devil." And that was the full of the story, from its head all the way to its tail.